Chad Ikes, Courage Barbell. Today I want to cover something that I actually have an online client who I need to make a video for, but I think everyone else can gain some knowledge from it. I also saw that Dr. Seth Alberworth posted a little Instagram video on a very similar thing today, and I actually think he's a really great guy, really smart guy, and he had some interesting points in addition to what I do. So I thought, hey, I got to shoot a video on this too then. You can follow him on Instagram and on Elite FTS. But basically what I'm going to cover today is upper body stretching. Now, the main reason that I want to cover this is because, well, as usual, it's shit I keep seeing screwed up that pisses me off. Because people only want to focus on the gym and they don't want to focus on stuff outside the gym, or they don't want to focus on anything that's not pounding heavy weights. And they're suffering. Their lifts are not as good as they could be. They're leaving themselves susceptible to injuries that they don't need to leave themselves susceptible to. I did my running this morning, guys, so I got a little bit of a prowler flu, so bear with me. So basically we have a tendency in our society today to do this. We're on our phones, we're at our keyboards, we're driving, and it's something I talked about in a video I did on posture. So if you have not seen that one, go back through my videos, find the one on posture, and watch that. And we're going to cover some of the same stuff here today. But what happens is this anterior portion of the upper body gets tight. And the posterior actually ends up getting weak because instead of doing its job, it's hunched over all day. And this stuff keeps getting tighter and tighter. So what happens is a lot of guys during their squat, they can't get back in the bar and get the bar in the right position. So instead of being up here like this, they're all hunched over like this. And now they just put what is a very strong part of their body in a weak position. And even the guys that can get under the bar good at the top, for some reason people don't realize that as you squat down, even if you get comfortable here at the top, then as they squat down, they start rounding over. And at the bottom, they're so tight and they're rounded over. And they just keep trying to fight it and fight it and fight it. But the problem, they're not fixing the problem. The problem is they're too tight. They need more flexibility. So instead of working flexibility, they just keep saying they're trying or they give up. And then another problem that is exacerbated by this is the stress that's put on the anterior parts of the shoulder. And so these guys end up having tons and tons of shoulder pain. They wonder why their bench is screwed up. Well, it's because you're squatting. And you're squatting when you're too tight and you shouldn't be tight. So it's going to help alleviate injuries. It's going to open the chest up. It's going to let you hit your position. So you're not fighting to get in your position and losing energy that could be put into the lift, but you're also in the strongest position. And I do a lot of upper body stuff for the bench press too, because people don't realize you want the shoulder blades down and together as tight as you can get them. If this is super tight, you cannot get your shoulders back where you want them. I see guys all the time, I teach them to retract their shoulder blades and depress their shoulders. And they go, and that's the closest they can get their shoulder blades together because they're too damn tight up here. Because they refuse to stretch. They think they're hardcore, they think they're tough, they think they train so hard. To me, they don't, because they're not willing to stretch. So you ain't training very hard if you ain't willing to stretch, and this is all you can get your shoulders back. I know I'm a little svelte, skinny guy now, but my shoulders are still bigger than most people's, yet I can go all the way back here and retract my shoulders so that my shoulders are not very broad. Now they're in skinny. And that's allowing me to push my chest up further. It's allowing me to get my whole back on the bench, putting my shoulders in a much safer position when bench pressing, and I have a great strong platform to push up from. Instead of being out here like this, I'm down here. So if I'm here, that's as far back as I can go. You can see my range. Boom. I just dropped it another 3 inches because I learned how to stretch this out and I'm not a lazy bastard. So this is going to be kind of a long video, so bear with me on this one. This is my number one go-to stretch. I'm going to show you other ways, but I prefer the band. And actually, before I start that, let's have a little discussion on stretching. Stretching sucks. I hate it. It's boring, it's crappy, it's uncomfortable, although it does feel great after I'm done. One of the main things with stretching is we have things like Golgi tendon, muscle sphincter fiber. Like our body has all these apparatuses in it to protect us. But sometimes we have to realize they're there and go, okay, we need to get past those. So all your stretches need to be held for at least 30 seconds, preferably a minute. And any of you guys that do stretch, if you've ever felt, say you go into a hamstring stretch, and when you first go into that stretch, you're like, God damn, that's tight, that's tight, that's tight, that's tight. And then after 20 seconds or so, all of a sudden it relaxes and you're able to go even further. Well, that first little bit wasn't really stretching the muscle. That was actually your body going, no, whoa, whoa, what are you doing? Hold on, what are you doing? And then those safety apparatuses finally let it relax, and then you can actually start stretching the muscle. So if you're doing this quick, oh yeah, my hamstring stretched out. No, you didn't stretch shit out. You didn't even do anything really effective. So that's one thing to keep in mind with all of these stretches, and I'll try to hammer that in as we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a band. This is an Elite FTS. I don't know. It's the orange band. Average band, I think. And I'm going to start here a little bit wider than shoulder grip, depending on how tight I am. I'm a little tight today. Then we're just going to go back. And now when I'm going back, I'm actually trying to retract my shoulder blades and depressing my shoulders. Then I'm going to come back to the point where about right here it starts stretching for me. So I'm going to try to keep good posture, neutral back. And I'm going to hold it and I'm going to let it stretch for a little bit. And for the sake of the fact that this video is already going to be long, I'm going to go a little further. And I want to hold each one of these positions for like 30 seconds to a minute. And then I'll kind of hold it here till it eases up a little bit. And again, I'm speeding this up, and then I'll go a little further and I'll hold it for a little bit. And as you can see, I'm trying to reach out behind me, and then I'm going to go a little further and I'm reaching back behind me. I have a tendency to push my head forward, so I'm trying to keep my head back. And I'm going to go down, and I'm going to keep working all these different positions. And I like to come all the way down. Like I'll come all the way down almost to my butt. And then I'll hold that position, and then I'll slowly come back up. Slowly come back up. Again, paying attention to my head. And I'm just holding it at each position, just letting it stretch and letting it stretch. And then going through that and then come back over like that. This is my go-to favorite one. There's no reason you can't be doing this 3, 4, 5 days a week. If you're benching while you're warming up in between sets, you grab a band, do a couple stretches in certain positions, do your next set, go a little further, hold it for a couple positions. This is the main one. This is the one I've seen. If you're going to be lazy and only do one stretch, do this one. Now, we can also do this. You can do it with a towel. You can do it with a dowel. So let's go ahead and cut right here. Back. So here I just have a little piece of PVC, which everybody go to the Home Depot or the whatever the hell hardware store you have. Get yourself a couple different thicknesses of PVC. Maybe get yourself some wood dowels. There's a lot of different stuff you can do with it. I'm a big guy. I'm a skinny little big guy now. I have chunks of PVC that are up to this big, that are only this long, which are great for rolling. I'm not a fan of foam rollers because they're too damn soft in my mind. So then prowler flu. So then we're going to grab out here, depending on how tight you are, and we're just going to do the same thing. Come out here till we feel it stretch, hold it, go a little deeper, a little deeper. We're holding it at different sections. Just like that. And then you want to do a couple and then keep bringing it in, keep bringing it in, keep bringing it in. Back when I was in college and I've actually seen javelin throwers grab like this and go all the way down to their butt, which is just insane. Now, one of the things I watched Dr. Seth do in his video this morning, which I thought was actually really cool, and I never really thought about it in the way that he showed it, but I really like it, so I want to show you guys. He's like, get a dowel or a piece of PVC, maybe a little thicker one for this, and just come back. If you're a low bar squatter, just take that and maybe start with it a little high to where it kind of stretches and feels uncomfortable. Maybe bring your arms in a little bit and then work on squeezing scapular retraction, scapular depression, and just hold it for a little bit and just walk around with it. And staying in that good posture, in that good position, and opening that chest up. And then maybe take it down a little bit, work it down a little bit, work it down a little bit. Bring your hands in a little bit, work it down, and really just work on keeping that posture where you can see I'm not letting myself round over like this. I'm trying to keep those scaps depressed, shoulder blades or shoulders depressed and scaps retracted, and just holding it in there and just holding that position. And I think even doing this over time is going to really help. And so I'm even trying to exaggerate my shoulders underneath the PVC, and again, keeping the head in the right position. I think even that is going to help a lot. Now, another one I like to do, I actually have some older clients that have horrible external rotation. So what we started doing is I will come up here with the rings, and we're just going to do like a behind the neck press, but we're trying to keep the bar back behind us as far as we can. So we're coming up here and we're going like this, which a lot of people have a hard time even doing this. So in that instance, what we're going to do, and hold on, let me check my camera. Okay, so another one I like to do with the behind the neck press is I'll take a PVC bar and we'll put it back here. And I kind of like, if people are really, really tight, I kind of like a flexible one so that it can still force them in position, but it gives them a little more room to move. And I'll just have them do this. And what I saw Dr. Seth do, which I also thought was really cool, and I'm going to remove my hook here. He basically did the same thing, but he just did it up here. And then stepping forward. So you're really getting that back, and you really want him to retract the scapula, depress the shoulders, and try to keep the elbows directly under the bar so they're not doing this. Try to come down like this. And I do have one other way to do that, so hold on, let me set up and I'll show you that. So for you guys that are consistent with my Instagram and my YouTube, thank you very much, by the way. You guys know I'm a fan of rings. And I do a lot of different stuff with these rings. So another one I can use this for, the rings, is really stepping forward. And we can do the same thing right here, having them get some pressure against the ring. So the idea of this one for me, in my layman blue collar terms, is I'm allowing them to get some pressure to stretch this back, but we're not just stretching in one direction, we're actually teaching the body to go through that whole movement. So it's really important for them to focus on scapular retraction, scapular depression, and at the top they can come out, let the depression out, pull them down, and really stretching through that whole range of motion. Especially with my older patients, their movement patterns are so messed up because they've been so tight for so long. Another one I like to do, which is to stretch the anterior capsule of the deltoid, or shoulder joint, I guess I should say. and also stretch the triceps, which is one that a lot of guys tend to not stretch. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this PVC or a dowel or whatever you want, grab it with one hand, come around the back. Now I'm going to grab this bottom one and I'm going to pull down. So I'm here and I'm pulling down. So pulling down, and I'm trying to get that elbow directly over my head. So when we come around, you're going to feel a stretch through here and even a little bit of a lat stretch. And we're going down here, and I'll take my head and I'll push my elbow back with my head. And again, 30 seconds to a minute. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go in reverse of that. So now I'm going to pull up. And when I'm pulling up, I'm pulling the shoulder. So I'm pulling the shoulder up. And you're going to get this, you're going to feel this stretch here in the anterior portion of the shoulder. So I'm going to pull up. And I'm actually pulling to the side of my head, not directly over my head this time. And getting that stretch in my shoulder. So down with the tricep, stretching that tricep out and a little bit of that lat. And then we're going to come up. We're going up right here, feeling that shoulder stretch. And this too can be done with the band. If you're a little lazier, band might work because you can come down here. We'll grab the band, and we'll pull it down, and you can almost pull it and just hold it at your side really easily and just let the tension of the band continue to pull on that tricep. And in the same way, when we're going up, I'll pull it up, get it to where it's tight, and I can just run it over my shoulder and just let the band, the tension from the band continue to pull that shoulder up. Okay, now we're going to move down to the floor and do a couple pretty easy stretches, but they have a big effect. Okay, so now we're going to get down on the floor and we're going to work on opening this whole chest and thoracic up. What I'm going to start showing you, I have a couple pivots here. You can get these on Amazon or whatever, but they're kind of expensive. So I'll show you with the pivots and then I'll show you the cheap guy way. So basically what we want to do is we want to take this one, and there's a little groove here for our spinous process. And we're going to put this right in the middle of our spine, right in our thoracic. And I have a cervical one just to make it a little more comfortable. So I'm going to move around here. I'm going right between my shoulder blades. There we go. I'm going to put my little cervical one here. Guys, I'm a little sore today. And then what I want to do is I want you to go up in a 90-90 position. 90 degrees with the humerus from the spine and 90 degrees from the humerus to the radius and the ulna. And honestly, this is a good one to do every day or at least multiple times a week. And it's easy. I mean, after your training, you can lay down for 5 minutes, let everything relax, open everything up, or before training, kind of working, getting your mind ready for training while you're just relaxing on this thing. And the idea is just to relax and let everything open up. And the goal being is you always want to be able to have your hands, like not force your hands down, but when you just relax and your hands are there. I'm a little tight today, so you can see my hands are hovering just a little bit. And that's it. This is one of my favorite stretches because I'm a lazy dude. I just get to lay here and open this up. And again, I'm not really squeezing my shoulder blades together, but I'm trying to get them fairly close. Prowler flu. Trying to get them very close, and then kind of depressing my shoulders, but not enough that I'm keeping a lot of tension on it, because like I said, I want to relax. So I just want to fall into that pivot, but I want to be able to feel that my shoulder blades are coming in on it. Now, seeing as this is the expensive way to go and we can't all afford these, I luckily used to have a really cool girlfriend that bought these for me. What I'm going to do is just a little towel here. This one's a little big probably, but I'm flexible anyway, so it's not too bad for me. And I'm going to put that towel in the same place right between the shoulder blades. And the same thing, I'm just going to relax. And I don't necessarily want my head to fall back this way. I want to keep my chin tucked. And you'll actually feel a little bit of a cervical stretch on that one, which is pretty good. But if you're up, you might want to take a little something, like I'll just take this one this time, and put it behind your head. And you can see how I'm keeping my chin tucked, because I want to stretch that cervical spine as well. And then just letting it open up. If you're super tight, you can start just by laying on the ground in the 90-90 position. And again, you see how I just tucked my chin and lay right here? I mean, I can't tell you how many clients I have that are like this, completely relaxed, or that they can't even get flat on the floor. So you may want to start with just the floor and be able to drive the chin back and get your head to the floor and go to 90-90. This really does almost nothing for me, but I still actually lay in this position every now and then because it's just good. Now, while I'm down here, another good one is, again, to take the PVC, and just like we were doing with the rings or behind the power rack, just do it on the same thing on the floor right here, and then just try to come behind the head, trying to keep the hands and the elbows on the floor the whole time. Just like that. You can even put a small, some small weights on here if you want to help keep it down, depending on how bad you or your client is. The same thing with holding a 90-90. Sometimes I'll hold plates or dumbbells in my hands. Well, I don't, because I can touch the ground anyway, but if you have somebody that's super, super tight, get them to relax and put like a 2.5, maybe a 5-pounder, and then try to get them to relax and let that weight kind of help stretch it down a little bit. That kind of depends on the client and what they can take. If it's a power lifter, they should be able to take it. And that's good for this stretch. All right, those are my main go-to stretches for squatting and benching for opening up that anterior, for the health of your shoulders. You know, there's so many guys out there. I've had so many guys come to me saying their doctor wants them to have surgery, or saying their shoulders are too messed up, they can't bench anymore. Most of the time it's bullshit. Yeah, you could have some damage in there. If you're in your 20s or 30s and you're not keeping your flexibility up and you're not doing your mobility stuff, you're gonna do some damage to your shoulders. Why not take a little bit of time to start stretching now so that you don't have to deal with that later? And of those old clients I've said that came in and needed surgery and stuff, I have yet to have a client that was told he needs surgery and I said, no, just give me a couple months. Every client that's ever happened to me with ended up not having surgery. And maybe their shoulders didn't become perfect, but we retained a whole bunch of movement, a whole bunch of strength, to the point that they're like, man, I don't want to risk having surgery. Like, I can move it way better than I have in 20 years. Why would I have surgery? So, you know, you might have damage that is irreversible, but you can get it way better. And why have surgery if you don't need to? And I'm talking clients in their 70s that couldn't even hardly lift their arms up. And maybe they can't do this now, but they can come up here like this, and they can do militaries, and they can reach up and grab stuff when they couldn't do that before. And the way we did that is by stretching the joint out, opening it up so that it can move and has the equal flexibility in the protagonistic and the antagonistic side of it. And then we can start strengthening those muscles. Once we get it opened up, now we can start really hammering the posterior side of those muscles. And again, get those protagonistic and antagonistic muscles equal in strength, or to where they're supposed to be, to make that a healthy joint again. And the joint will just keep getting better and better and better. So also, we're going to delay or reduce risk of injury, I should say. We're going to allow you to get into a better, stronger position. You can, if you're tight, if you're super tight, you can bench more over, say, a couple month period if you're consistent with your stretching and opening it up, and then working that new flexibility and mobility in your training. You will lift more weight over a couple month period without even getting stronger, because you'll be able to get into a better position. You'll be in a more efficient position, which is going to allow you to lift more weight. Like, you'll come into the gym and you'll bust your ass, you'll pound heavy weight, you beat the crap out of yourself because you claim you want to get stronger. Will you take a little bit of time to build your flexibility and mobility to also lift more weight? That's a good question for you guys. Why is it that you would beat the crap out of yourself physically to get stronger, but you won't do something that's actually pretty damn easy a few days a week to help you lift more weight? And you can see me now. I'm not in my competitive strength. I'm not at my competitive size. I'm way smaller now. Even when I was almost 400 pounds, I had almost the same flexibility, if not maybe a little bit more than I do now. So for you guys that are like, I'm too big, I'm not that flexible, I have too much muscle. Bullshit. I was freaking massive, and I could still do almost everything that I can do now. But I put more effort into my stretching back then because it was way more important to me. Now, I just want to be flexible enough to keep my health and everything up and still be able to train the way I want to train. So, this is already going to be a long video. I hope all you guys stuck to it. I really, really, really hope that you will watch this video, take it to heart, and actually do some of these things. I guarantee if you give it a couple months of steady, consistent work, you will see an effect. If you have painful shoulder squatting, if you can't sit at the bottom in an open position with an open chest, and when I say open chest, I don't mean open up, I mean open this way, open here, retracted. Well, I mean, I don't know what I would do, because it will work. I guarantee it'll work. I've never had it not work. So please like this channel. Please subscribe to this channel. I'm asking for your guys' help. You know, tell people about it. Help me expand it. Maybe put some links on Instagram, like link it or copy it or whatever the hell that shit is you do on social media. And help me grow this. If you want to go over to couragebarbell.com, get some apparel. We got water bottles now. Water bottles, stickers. I'm still working on some pants. We got shorts. I got some new jersey shorts coming out here soon. A couple new shirt designs coming out. I'm trying to keep up with all my regular work and doing all this stuff. Check out my articles on EliteFTS.com. I'm trying to plan to get back out there and do a podcast, a roundtable podcast again. Everyone seemed to like my last one. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Please, I know stretching sucks. I'm the first guy to admit stretching sucks. It will help with your strength. You're already busting your ass. You're working so hard, putting so much time in. Go the full distance. Go all the way. Go all in. Do it all. Sleep right. Eat right. Focus on your recovery. Make sure it equals with your training. Do your flexibility and mobility work. Get everything you can get out of all the time you're going to put into this. All right, guys, I just want everyone to succeed. I want to help them reach their goals. I'm out.